Hello everyone and welcome back to week 6 of 13 Frights Before Halloween 2022. This collaboration consists of 11 crafty witches who are bringing you Halloween projects every Monday until October 24. I'm excited to share with you my project for this week, so let's get crafting. So my project today was inspired by two things. First was this Dollar Tree mini disc bound notebook. I bought this when they first came out, not really knowing what I would do with it, but I loved the little disc that they had with the hearts in there, and I just thought this was super cute. The orange pages kind of threw me a bit, so this has been sitting on my shelf. The second thing that inspired today's project was this collection by My Crafty Boutique. It is adorable. It's called Pasteloween. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it, and that was to combine it with this Dollar Tree mini disc bound notebook. So here is my altered Dollar Tree mini disc bound notebook. I am loving how this turned out. Now I removed the original covers and replaced it with an image from Pasteloween, which I increased in size. So my final cover measures at the widest part about 4 1/8 inches wide and 5 1/8 inches tall. So that does change what the original size was, which is 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. But it still worked for me. I loved this image so much, I knew I wanted it to be the cover. In fact, I uploaded these images to Cricut Design Space and did my manipulating there. So I made this image larger, and then I mirrored it so that I could have one on the back as well. I love that. It's just so cute, like a little TN. So now let's go inside and look at the pages. I wanted this to be an October daily notebook, so that's kind of the direction that I went with this. On the inside cover, I didn't do anything here except add some glitter cardstock on the back of the front image, which I also used on the front as well to outline and make the decorative image pop. So on the first page, I created a little belly band with one of the candy pieces. I just made it larger. And then I took the washi piece that she had in the collection, which I thought was adorable, with this little bat paper clip. And I made 2 of them, again mirroring the image, and I laminated them so that I could actually add real washi tape to it. So now you have a little washi card. Super cute. On the back side of the washi, I incorporated this image from the collection as well. It's actually one long piece, and I cut it in half because it looked like a Filofax page or the cover. So I cut it in half, putting one part in the front and another part in the back of the notebook. I just thought that would be cute. Another thing that I did for this page was actually cut into the images and made 2 little pockets. So we have one here and then one back here, just cutting right into the paper. I added this cute little word speech bubble here that says boo. I thought that would be great with this little ghost. Put in some little lollipops here, and then added this cute little coffin, which I sized down to go in my little pocket that I made. I did print the candy paper on a printable vellum and added that here, kind of like a dashboard. Now the paper clip that you see here is one that's from the collection. I duplicated this image in Cricut Design Space, and I made it a mirror image and printed those out, backed them together, and laminated them and cut into the laminate so that it would be a real paper clip. That was fun to do. I think it looks cute peeking out over the front. So when we turn the page, we have an October calendar here because we're doing October dailies. We can put important information here. I also added a printable on the back that says important dates. In case things come up during the month, you can write it on the right month and have that for later. And then what I've also included are like weekly pages All of these printables are from the lovelyplanner.com. I'll have her link down below. And here is a divider that I created. You see I used the page as a base and then built on my pieces to make it a tab divider. Under this tab, I included things like trackers. So here we have this adorable little Halloween mood tracker. You can do your key down here. So these images that I got from lovelyplanner.com, I shrunk all of them, even this. So I added this ticket image and the Showtime image, but this part over here is from her movies, and it's just one big 8.5 by 11 page, and I just shrunk it all down so that you could write down your movies that you watched throughout October. And then she also had a Songs of the Month page, and I included that here as well. I thought that would be fun to denote for your October dailies. Another item that I found in her printables was this house, and I thought, how cool would this be to include it? And then that way you can plan out how you're going to decorate. So maybe upstairs you're going to do one thing, or maybe on the door we're going to do something different. So all I added was Halloween decor plan, and then I of course shrunk this down. When I did the printables, I used Adobe Photoshop. I made a page that was 6 inches by 4 1/16, because the original pages are actually slightly over 4 inches. And then I used that as a template to shrink all of these printables. Here is my next divider. And then we go into the pages. Now I think there's about 32, maybe 34 pages. So you have plenty of room to do your October daily documenting. I did take out about 20 pages because it was just getting so fluffy. Look at that. And that's just by decorating. But there are plenty tuck spots and lots of places to add photos and do journaling. When I did my decorating, I decorated on one set of pages. I skipped a set, I decorated again, and then I skipped the next set. So that was my theme throughout. So on our first 2 pages here, I added the broom from the collection, which was really cute. I made it a side tuck, and this is an element that I cut out of the paper, just a little tag, and that measures 2 1/4 by 3. Here is one of the little journal cards that was included. Cat got your tongue. The cat is so adorable. You could put a photo on the back here. You could even journal on this page, and I made the pumpkin a little tuck spot. So then our next pages are blank. You could add your own photos here, put in your journaling, add memorabilia. That's why I wanted to leave empty pages in there so that you have room to add more items. On this page, I did leave the little boo cup open so you could tuck into that. And on this side, we have a little side tuck here. Put in this little booyah card. This is such an adorable little collection. We have another blank set. And on this page, I did glue the hat and little spider all the way down because it was so delicate, that little spider. Over here, I added a spider web, and I made that a top tuck and created a tag out of the paper collection. I did print on both sides to get it to have that color. And here I added these little, I don't know, is this a Dracula mouth or what? I don't know, but I love it. You can tuck up under there, and you could even tuck here under the, what is this, a bobo? I don't know, I don't drink that stuff. But it's so cute, I love it. I put the little eek here because that ghost just looks like, oh no. I added the little haunted house here as a tuck spot, and inside I included one of the little tags from Heidi Swap. I receive Heidi Swap's planner subscription, and she has the most adorable little tags. So I was using them in this project, and they were the perfect size. So this little tag here is 1.5 by 3, perfect to slip underneath the house. I added a bat there in the corner. And of course we have to have the candy corn. I put one up here and added trick or treat sentiment. And then down below I stacked these little candy corns. I added one of the bows to the top of the candy corn. That's so adorable. And then I used the bow on this little tag. On this page, I created a little envelope using Heidi Swapp's envelope die. It's the 2x2 size. And what I did was, so it looks like this when you put it together, I cut off the top part here. And I put that over here, making it a little tuck spot for this little piece that I had. And then what I did was placed the envelope down on, glued it on 3 sides so that you not only have a tuck spot in the envelope, you also have a tuck spot behind it. And I added another coffin, and I just made this a larger size. And this is actually one of Heidi's stamps that I did. Added some little fun fur here just for fun. Now on this page, I actually created my own slotted pockets in Cricut Design Space. And so I took that image that I created and I shrunk it down to fit. And it is 2 1/4 by 2 7/8, very tiny. And then I tucked in some little elements, this little coffee cup. Here's another one of Heidi's tags. Just added some baker's twine here at the top. And then I glued down one of those cute little ghosts. On this side, I just glued down some of the little candies included in the collection. Here we have a little Bite Me journal card. And then this flips open. I used Heidi Swapp's washi tape there. And on this side, it's actually a place where you can add a photo. Now this again is a stamp from Heidi Swapp, added the fun fur at the top, but you could, a shedding fun fur, but you could add a photo onto this ticket or just add your photo straight down in there. But if you notice behind it, I also made this a pocket, and it has another journal card from Heidi. Added a little bow to the top. You could add a photo on the back side. Lots of little tuck spots. I thought this page was fun. I put on one of the journaling cards here, if the broom fits, and it flips up. And then I put the little witch over here, and of course it says, witch please. So it's like, if the broom fits, witch please. Of course it does. And she's a little tuck spot as well. On this page, we have a little RIP tombstone with a pumpkin. I added that shimmer cardstock again, putting the ghost up at the top like a little tab. Just tucks right underneath there. And over here, I added the little cat in front of the pumpkin. And I think I made that a tuck spot. Yeah, so you could tuck something in there as well. I tried to do that with most of the images. This cute little spider was very delicate legs. I just glued her all the way down. And over here is her cobweb. And that's a little side pocket. And I put in this journal card, home is where your ghoul's at. Here I inserted one of the little coffee cups, and I just made this really big. So this measures, if we go with the whitest point, about 2.5 inches by 3 7/8. I just made it really big, added it here, added the little witch to the back side, and some little bats over here. On this page, I added some candy corn with a little bow on it, and I just glued that all the way down. But over here, we have the stacked bows, and I made that a kind of like a belly band. You can tuck a little tag in it. This is another Heidi tag. So adorable. Just tucks right in there. And over here, I used Heidi Swap's die to create this little envelope. Looks like this. And that's what it looks like when you put it together. And again, I cut off the little flap, so you had just the envelope. And I tucked in a little card, added a little candy corn. So we have a little side tuck. And then this is also glued down on 3 sides to make it a pocket for this little tag. And for our last page, I added the skull and bones over here with the eek. And on this side, I used Cricut Design Space image to create a Polaroid. I shrunk these down to be 2 3/8 by 2 7/8. Really tiny. I love it. So I put this one on crooked, glued it on 2 sides so it would be a tuck spot. And then I created another one here with this paper. And then I left this image in there as well because that can be a template to cut out your photo, and then you could put your photo right in here. And then here we are with the back piece. And I cut into this page as well to make it a tuck spot and added this cute little card, too cute to spook. So here's what it looked like. And then I cut down the side and at the bottom of the coffin so that we could just tuck right in there. And that is my little October daily notebook. I love how this turned out. I hope you guys will give this a try. Lots of fun. I did do a tutorial on how to put this together. I give some helpful hints on how to punch pages because the pages are not a true 3x4. And if you notice, they aren't a true disc hole punch either. So that was challenging, I will say, but it was still worth doing it. I love how it turned out. I love how chunky it is. Kind of fun. So totally ready for October dailies. Oh my goodness. If I don't do one, I could use this. Super, super fun. So my tutorial follows this portion of the video. I hope you're able to stay and create along with me. But if you can't, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. Now, let's get started with the tutorial. So to create the new cover for this little disc-bound notebook, I considered the actual cover that's already there, which is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I noticed that they have about 1/4 of an inch of laminate all the way around the card inside. So I took my image and I made it as large as the card, but then I actually ended up making it a little bit bigger. And then I'll just cut a little bit of laminate around that, and I still think it will work. So you really could do your image larger than the one that they show because of the fact that they add 1/4 of an inch laminate in addition to their decorative piece. Just as long as your piece is about, let's see, what do we have here? About 3 5/8 is just a smidge over by 4 5/8. If it fits in there, you're going to be fine. It could really be whatever size you want it to be. To create the cover, I took this image and imported it into Cricut Design Space. I made it larger, and then I duplicated it and mirrored the image. So now I have like a front and back image. I don't mind that it's the same. I just think it's going to be cute. So I cut these out, and then I cut out some glitter cardstock from Doris. Again, I did a mirror image, and I did that twice. What I'm going to do is glue the decorative onto the glitter paper, and then I'm going to glue additional glitter paper onto the back so that when you do open the cover, you have the nice glitter showing and not a white piece of cardstock. In addition, I'm going to be laminating these 2 pieces together. So there is one washi image in the collection, and I again in Cricut Design Space, took it and mirrored it so that I have a front and back. I'm going to glue these together and laminate this so then you can actually add washi tape to this and it won't stick. Likewise, I'm going to do the same thing with this little bat paper clip, which I think is adorable. I have 2 of these. I am going to laminate it. I'm going to try to cut in there so it will still work as a paper clip. We'll see how that works out. But again, I mirrored those images and cut those out. So I'll glue those together and this together, and then we'll start laminating. So I'm back from laminating, and here are my elements. The washi card came out pretty good. I went ahead and cut around it. Just cut out a little bit around the bat as well. So that's going to be nice and usable. I did try to laminate the stacked bows in this collection, but for some reason it didn't really want to seal very well here in the center, maybe because there's open spaces there. I ran it through many times, backward, forward, sideways, and it didn't make any difference. It still didn't seal it very well, but I still think that will be a usable piece if I wanted to. And then the paper clip came out okay as well. It didn't seal exactly clear on the inside. I still think this will be usable as well, and I went ahead and cut out around that. Here are my covers, and I think these came out good as well. I did cut around these already just to save a little time, and I kind of went around the shape of the actual notebook here, because to me this is a traveler's notebook cover, right? I also went ahead and cut the holes into the sides, and just remember, if you're using this same collection, the Traveler's Notebook here is a little wonky, so I tried to straighten it up a little bit. So when you cut down the side, you're just going to have to be mindful of that. So to cut the holes, I took off the cover from the original disc notebook. I lined that up with the bottom of the cover that I cut out. And then I used the We're a Memory Keeper disc punch. And that worked out really well. So you'll notice that the 1/4 of an inch on the Dollar Tree is not what I did here. I did more of 1/8 of an inch, if not less, going around this cover. And it works fine as well. So that's how I created the covers. Here's the back side. I did the same thing. I lined up the original from the back of the notebook, just to make sure I was getting the right punches. And as you can see, they line up there. And then just use my disc punch. This thing is wonderful. If you like disc binding, this is a nice time saver. So that worked out really well. I'm sorry I didn't film that, but I'm sure you all know how to do it. You just open this thing up, you line up your holes, put it in and punch. Then you take this hole, you put it over this end here, and that helps line you up for the next punch. Okay, and then you just go down the line. So now we can actually take these off and put them aside. Let's add on our covers. So they just punch right over the disc there. And there we go. So adorable already. And I really like that I did the purple glitter on the inside. It just makes it nice and fun. I think these orange pages are perfect for this project as well, so I'm happy to be using those. So this is another element in the paper collection that I chose, and because this again looks like probably a Filofax type of design here, because it has like the binding that opens up. At least that's what it looks like to me. So what I did with this, I enlarged it, and then I cut down the center to make this 2 pieces, because I thought these could be the first and last page inside the notebook now. To give them a little strength and some color on the back side, created an offset in Cricut Design Space. And now I have maybe about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch border around that. And then we have a nice shimmer cardstock on the other side. And then here's this one. And I forgot to mention, I created the offset for the purple glitter the same way. So that's how these will look. But before I glue these down, what I thought would be fun is to actually cut into the paper and make little tuck spots. So now we have 2 pages to go into our mini notebook. As we talk about adding pages, one of the things I wanted to mention, that even though the pages measure a 3 by 4, it is not a true 3 by 4. It is a little bit longer than 4. I would suggest to you to take one of these pages out and use it as a template for everything that you want to cut and add. I started to cut out some pages, such as an October calendar, and as I was doing that, I found it really difficult to punch the holes, because as you can see, it doesn't go as deep as the We Are Memory Keepers disc punch creates. You see how long that shaft is. I tried to make a pen mark on here to help with punching holes, but then I found my paper was not always straight across and I was making them crooked. So it was just really a difficult task. So then after I got this grouping done, I decided, well, why don't I just use the page as a base and build on from there? So to create a little divider, what I did was use a page as my base. I cut out a piece of cardstock to match the collection. This is 2 3/4 by 4. And again, it's slightly over. It's about 4 1/16. What I did was I cut the width of my paper first, 2 3/4, and then I used my base page as my template to cut out the height. Okay? The next thing I did was take and cut out a tab out of that same cardstock using my little tab punch. I added this onto the page first and then my cardstock. So I printed out my items that I added to this journal from lovelyplanner.com. I'll have her link down below. I just Googled a calendar and found this one. I shrunk it down to be a 3 by 4. And then I printed it out, punched in my holes. I'm not going to link these individually. I'm just going to link you to the website and just, put in calendar, put in important dates, and these will come up. Okay, so I'm at a point where I have added my papers into my little notebook here. And I've even gone ahead and gone through all the pages and identified what I want on each of the pages. It's kind of chunky, but I have paper clips holding everything in because I thought I might film that portion. So to do that, what I did first was to print out all of the papers using, just using my household printer. I have an Epson Workforce, and just printed those out on 32-pound paper. If you've never used 32-pound weight paper, you're missing out. It is super smooth, and it's a nice heavyweight, better than copy paper, and it feels really good to the touch. I even printed one of the sheets on vellum, and I used that as well. As you can see right here on the front, I used that. So that was fun to include. But that's how I started. And what I found is that I mainly used a lot of the ephemera pieces, and then I used the paper as basically like little accent pieces or tags. So what I'm going to do now is actually go through all of the items that I have mapped out and put the pages together and glue those down. I will say that I did use some dies that I had in my stash for tags, and then I also used some of my Heidi Swap stuff. These cute little tags as well were perfect for this project. So that's how I decorated all of the pages. Lots of fun there. Now, I know I do provide some of the measurements during the reveal, but I thought maybe I might go through a few of these and give you more sizing information. But it really is a preference on how small you want things to be or how large you want them to be. So this little card is 2 1/4 by 3. This journal card is 2 1/4 by 3. This one I know is smaller. This is about 2 by 2 5/8. I tried to make different sizing. The pocket piece is 1 inch, and then of course 4 1/16. You guys look, I put this on upside down. Oh well. And this I used a die, but it measures about 1 3/4 by 3 1/8, just to give you a reference. I think I gave you the measurement for this, 1 1/2 by 3. That was Heidi's tag. And this one again, I used a die, and it measures a little bit over 1 1/2 by about 2 5/8. I'm guessing on that one. This was really just a cutoff, and it measures 1 3/8 by a little over 2. This tag fit in here perfectly. It was 1 3/4 by 2 3/8. My little coffin at the widest point is between 1 7/8 and 2 inches, and it is about 3 1/2 inches tall. Again, I just picked sizes and went with them. I didn't even really pay too much attention. The little slotted pocket is 2 1/4 by 2 7/8. Heidi's little tag is 1 3/4 by 2 1/2. Perfect size for this. Let me show you. The little coffee, just as a reference, is 1 inch by a little over 1 1/2. This little journal card is almost 2. I would do a 2 by 2 1/2. I have it a little bit bigger than that. This piece here was a image from Cricut Design Space. It measures 2 1/4 by 3. But I really just made a pocket, cut out the center here, which is 1 3/8 by, again, 2 1/16. The little tag that goes in it is about 2 by 3 1/4, and then the tag behind it, 2 by 3. I don't know if this is helpful. I hope it is. But again, you know, you can really make things whatever size you want. I just made them with the size that looked good in Cricut Design Space and then cut them out. This little tag is about 2 1/4 by 3. My little witch is 2 1/2, and she is 1 1/2 inches wide. The word sentiment is about 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. This little tag is about 1 1/2 by 2 5/8. I used a die for that. This little pumpkin at the widest part, 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. The little kitty. Oh, that's going to be hard because of the tail. About 1 1/8. let's see, a little less than 1 3/4. That's difficult. These are difficult. The journal card is about 2 1/4 by 3. That one I gave you the measurement for. And this, of course, I made it. It's about 2 3/8 inches wide, and then it's 4 inches tall. Little candy corn is about 7/8 by 1. This was a little die, but it measures 1 3/4 by 3 1/8. And then that's Heidi's die, and it is a 1.65 by 2.65. And I gave you the measurements for those. This is the same size as the other ones, about 2 by 2 5/8. So I hope that helps, giving you some of those measurements. At least it gives you an idea of the sizing and what you might want to use. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about how we can do our punching of the pages and everything. I've talked to you already about how I use the covers, and I use the Dollar Tree covers to punch my holes. That works really well because, you know, we're adding laminate to the outside, so we're going to be able to use the regular punch for disc. Whether you have this one or another one, you'll still be able to use it on the covers. When you go to working with the pages, as I mentioned, they are very short. They don't have the full shaft on them. So one thing that you could do is take a page as your template. If this is the page you want to insert, line those up. Take a pencil, go around the curve of each of these punches. And then you could use a hand punch to go back and make a punch right where the curve is that you made. Now, what I found, if you use the Dollar Tree paper punch, it looks like it flares out. So I don't know if it's bigger than a normal paper punch, but it gives you no room at all to make the normal lines. Because if we normally use a paper punch to add things to a disc system, we make a paper punch hole and then we cut 2 little lines. And then that allows us to add it to our disc. This doesn't give you that option. It punches the hole right to the edge. Now this does work, believe it or not. And so you would be able to add your page. However, it does easily come off because there's only like these little slivers right there holding it in. But it does work. So that's why you saw me opt to using the pages as the base for when I wanted to build on a new page, like I did with the dividers. That was really the best thing to do. But I did have another idea. So here we have these 2 ideas. We have using, whoops. So we have these 2 ideas. We have using the page as a base. And then the next idea I had and used was to take a piece of cardstock. This measures 4 1/16 by 3 1/4. You take one of your pages, you glue that onto your cardstock. I'm not going to do that because I actually already have one. And then if you notice, the cardstock is longer than our page. That's what we want. Because then you can take your punch, your disc binding punch, line it up with the second slot there, go in, make a punch, and then you are able to make all of your other paper punches with ease. Take it, flip it over. And now we have it. So that's your template. Let's say this is my page, and I'm just using scrap here. I take my page. It is the same size as the Dollar Tree pages, right? You add that on to the back. And if you see here, you can, can I take this one off? Because I didn't glue it on. It'll be easier. Okay, but you would glue yours on. Okay? And it would look like this. So this is the page you want to punch. You add it to the back of your template that you've just created with the cardstock, and you see it lines up just a little bit there, but you can still use it. You take it, you line it up with your hole punch, and voila, now you have your punch. And now you can go and make the rest of them. Again, I like to flip it around to do the last one. And now we have the punches that mirror the pages. And it will fit right in there. Okay? Easy peasy. Not really. That was the one bummer about this whole thing, is that the pages weren't the proper punch, you know? So that was the only way I could think of to create a template to be able to punch my own pages, was to do what I explained. Add one page onto cardstock, make sure it's 3/4 of an inch wide, punch in your holes, and then you have a template. Put your paper on the back, and then you can punch your holes, just as I just showed you. So I hope that helps you out in trying to figure out how to punch your pages. There are, you know, we have the covers as an option to use as a template. You have the pages to use as a template. You can use a paper punch. I'm not sure that that's the best option because it punches so close to the edge of the paper. And then you have the option of creating your own template like this. This is your best option if you want to add pages, but the easiest would be to use the existing pages. Now, if I would want to recreate this little mini, I would just punch them regularly and make the pages a little bit wider. But that's doable too. So don't think that if you don't have a Dollar Tree little mini disc notebook, you can make your own. Just use some of the measurements that I've already provided. I would really make your pages 3 1/4 inches wide if you're going to use a disc punch. And then you should have enough room, even with the covers being the size that they are. Or you could even increase the size of this. It would be really easy to adapt it to whatever size that you like. So that's our project for today, everyone. That is how you alter a Dollar Tree disc-bound mini notebook. I hope you have enjoyed this and learned a few things along the way, because I know I certainly did. It's really the pages that got in the way because they don't use the proper disc-bound size. But otherwise, it was okay. And lots of fun to create. I'm glad that I finally was able to use this little mini. I hope you like this project as well. Let me know down below what you think, and if you have any questions, you can drop them there as well. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.